I'm here with Christian Wells, who is another of our recipients of a Research That Matters grant from the Office of Community Engagement and Partnerships, and this is part of our ongoing OCEP conversation series. And we're so delighted that we were able to give this grant that has been really instrumental in many ways in being able to create a fantastic museum in St. Vite. So can you tell us a bit more about that project?
Sure. My colleagues in anthropology and engineering and I were on another project in Belize at the time through the National Science Foundation, and we were working on a project on infrastructure and wastewater infrastructure in areas of high tourism development in Belize. And as part of projects through applied anthropology, we like to work with communities and give back to communities. And so one of the communities that we were working with was very interested in developing some type of a tourism product for their community. This particular community is St. Vite, which is adjacent to an area of very high tourism development. And so St. Vite community members wanted to participate in that, but ultimately had very little say in the development that was going on. And so we talked with the chair of the village council and several community members and decided that we would create a resource room, a heritage resource room in their new recreation center. So the idea would be that we would bring in aspects of culture and history and heritage for display, and they could use that in local schools and to attract tourists and so forth. And so we received a grant from the Inherit Foundation to create that room. And during the process of creating that room, community members became very excited and they wanted to do something bigger. They wanted to create an entire museum. And we really didn't think we could do it. But then we heard about the Research That Matters grant, and we thought we had a shot of being able to expand the project into a museum. So we created a private foundation that would fundraise some capital to create the building, and then we would use the Research That Matters grant to train people in the community to research their own history and heritage and culture and come up with exhibitions for the interior of the building.
I just think this is so fantastic. When I heard that a Research That Matters grant was having an impact in Belize and could potentially even be a model for how communities that are impacted by tourism are able to really tell their own story through a grant like this, I'm just so delighted, and I think it's really fantastic that USF is a part of that. What do you think will be the possibilities for this going forward? Would other communities be able to do something similar?
I think so. This is part of a broader movement in applied anthropology called university engaged research, where the research that's done is aimed at democratizing science by involving community members in the production of knowledge. And so in this particular case, we are building capacity in the community for community members to do their own research and create their own tourism products on their own terms. And I think it's so far been very successful, and I can see it being replicated in other communities. As long as there is a long-term university-community partnership, and with the goal of building research capacity and development capacity within the community.
Why is it so important for universities to get involved in projects like this? What does the university bring to the table that makes it a little bit different?
Well, you're right. It is a two-way street. For the university, it's a really fantastic opportunity that sort of like an outdoor learning laboratory for our students. And our students can understand international partnerships and development and how you work with stakeholders in the community to get things done. And for local communities, it's a great way to receive and participate in education and capacity building that really can only come from universities. So it really is a win-win for both.
What would happen if they were trying to do the museum on their own? What would be some of the limitations that the university is able to help build that capacity?
You're right. The universities are able to facilitate projects like this, largely because they have access to capital and other kinds of ways of developing and communicating. And so I think if a community were trying to do this on their own, they would run into obstacles of funding, regulatory obstacles, navigating complex government structures, and perhaps generating broader community support and engagement. And a university that can come in and partner with communities over the long term, I think, is able to bring together really diverse stakeholder groups that are in the community and get people talking that might not otherwise have a conversation.